The Years at the Spring by Robert Browning. Read and explained for kids by Sanger Academy. Here's a nice little poem by a poet and playwright from London, England. Robert Browning, born 1812, died 1889. I'll read the poem, then discuss it, then read it again. The years at the spring, and days at the morn, mornings at 7, the hillsides dew-pearled, the larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Now for a few notes on the words in the poem. The words are actually pretty easy. Morn, as you might guess, is short for morning. The hillsides dew-pearled means there are pearl-shaped drops of dew on the grass or trees of the hillside. Here is a lark, a nice songbird. And to say the lark is on the wing means it's flying. I think the other words in the poem are clear enough, but there are a few more things to say about this little poem. One interesting thing is that the poet, Browning, puts stresses in the same places. The years at the spring and days at the morn. Notice the pattern. If we mark up the poem with U's over the unstressed syllables, it looks like this. Notice that the poem has 8 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these 8 lines come in groups of 4 lines, so we can divide the little poem into 2 groups. The 2 groups of lines are called 2 stanzas. Now, notice one other thing. Spring rhymes with wing. Morn, thorn. 7, heaven. Pearled, world. If we give each different rhyme a letter, then we say the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Cool, huh? There's another interesting bit of repetition. Did you notice that on every line, apostrophe S is repeated? We see years, days, mornings, and so on, all the way to the bottom of the poem. Browning clearly put a lot of thought into how he wrote this poem, didn't he? Now let's talk a little more about what the poem means. Browning says first that the years at the spring, that's the beginning of the year. Then he says the days at the morning, that's the beginning of the day. Then he says the mornings at 7, that's the beginning of the morning. See a pattern? So in the first 3 lines of the poem, Browning is saying we're at the beginning, the start. And what is the start like? It's very pretty and pure, isn't it? The hillsides dew-pearled, the larks on the wing, etc. It's all very pretty and wonderful. And in the last 2 lines of the poem, Browning seems to make his point. At the beginning of it all, God is in heaven, where he should be, and all is right with the world. Everything is perfect. Do you think all's right with the world? Was everything all right in the beginning? Something to think about. Well, I hope my notes have given you something to think about. Let's go ahead and reread the poem once again. The years at the spring, and days at the morn. Mornings at 7, the hillsides dew-pearled. The larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. God's in his heaven, all is right with the world. This poem is actually taken from a play by Browning called Pippa Passes, and the poem is actually meant to be sung in the play. This is a song. I'll link to a song version of the play. Look for it. Why don't you try learning this poem by heart? That means memorizing it. It's easier than you might think. The end.